Welcome to Reading Between the Lines. This episode, we have Parker Garner here, who's the author of Your Path is Sorrow, and we're going to talk all things about her book.
Okay, this is Reading Between the Lines. We're both emotionally unstable, but that's okay because we're doing it together. So go team.
Well, welcome, Parker. We're really excited to have you on. First things first, just introduce yourself to our listeners. Just kind of tell us who you are, and then kind of tell us a little bit about your book.
Yeah, so like you guys said, my name's Parker A. Garner. I released my debut novel, Your Path is Sorrow, on February 23rd of this year, which was a year-long process that started with me basically taking a leap of faith and deciding to quit my job entirely and pursue indie publishing full time. My husband and I were in the position where we were able to look at our finances and be like, hey, if we want to take this leap of faith, let's basically, bet it all on me. And I literally have the most supportive husband in the world, and he encouraged me to do it. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I dove into it head first and learned a lot of lessons on the way. But we're now sitting at, I want to say it's 8 days until the release of the sequel, Your Path is Sacrifice. And then in October, I'm releasing a standalone. So why not just go full steam ahead?
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize you had, whoa.
Yeah.
You had a lot. Whoa.
And book 3 in the series is due to my editor December 29th. So technically I'm doing 4 books this year.
Oh, geez.
Gosh, how did you find time for that? What?
Well, I do not have children that are not animals. So I have 2 cats and a dog, and those are the only dependents that I have to worry about. So I have a lot of free time. And I'm also incredibly introverted and love never leaving my house. So I'm able to dedicate, 8 to 10 hours a day writing. And I'm also a pretty fast writer, not to pat myself on the shoulder, but pat myself on the shoulder. I'm a really fast writer. So, although I will say I have discovered this year that just because I can write a lot in 1 month doesn't mean it's mentally good for me to write a lot in 1 month.
Fair enough. That's
our
lesson for the day, everybody listening.
Yeah. Just because don't turn your passions into too much work.
Fair enough. Honestly, when it comes to writing, I feel like that's a common thing is what people say is you can write, but don't let it get to a point where it feels like it's work.
Yeah.
It's no longer fun.
You still want it, especially for creatives, you still want it to come organically. You still want it to come from that place deep inside yourself that's fueling you at the same time that it's using you. And that's a very fine balance that I just, every author has their balance that they have to find. And I just unfortunately found mine the hard way.
It's some of the things that we have to go through, right?
Right. Life lessons.
Right. Well, I guess the first thing we kind of want to ask you is just kind of tell us about this first book. And I told Emma before this, I keep wanting to say Your Path is Sacrifice because I keep seeing that as the second book. That's the second book, guys. Your Path is Sorrow is the first book. Tell us kind of where it came from. Where did the idea come from? Give us a little synopsis.
Yeah, absolutely. So where the idea came from, honestly, I couldn't even tell you. It was my husband and I had gone on a trip to Ireland with my sister and her husband. And so I had just been surrounded by literally the most beautiful sights I'd ever seen in my life. It was the type of place where just driving around it, I was like, yeah, I absolutely could believe magic exists just by seeing the landscape and the countryside and the history. And it was just so incredibly inspiring. I had this scene pop into my mind, and I cannot sleep in public at all, in cars, on trains, on plane. I can't do it. Don't like the idea of people watching me while I sleep. So it's an overnight flight from Ireland back to Tennessee, and I had nothing else to do but write. So I just opened up my laptop and I started writing out this scene that isn't even in the book anymore. When I started writing it originally I wrote the entire manuscript contemporary. So it was set in America, it was set in modern times,
Yeah.
and because a little bit about the story, I guess should start there, is you follow the lead character of Corla, who enters into a soul-binding agreement with an imprisoned god, offering to release him onto the mortal realm if he will grant her a wish. Because her mother has been trapped in an endless cycle of suffering, so she's basically beseeching the god of suffering to lift that pain from her mother. And in exchange, she offers him her soul. And then, obviously things continue from there. She doesn't hear from him for years until he traipses back into her life, and suddenly she's thrown into a labyrinth of the divine, witches, politics, castle or palace intrigue. And then, of course, the story continues from there. In the original manuscript, she was in veterinary school, like she was in college to become a vet, and everything was set in modern day times. And I got literally through the entire manuscript and sat back and was like, something's not right about this. It doesn't feel right to me. And it wasn't until I realized I needed to completely change it into a fantasy setting. So that was like a 3-month process of just going back and completely rewriting it. But I'm so glad I did, because as I was rewriting it, the characters started speaking to me more, and the story started speaking to me more. And I was like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be going with it.
Yeah. That's kind of wild that you like literally had the entire manuscript done.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But I also love how you knew that it wasn't right. And instead of just being like, oh, it should be fine, like, I want to get it out, like, you perfected it to the way that it made you feel good about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a strange writer in the sense that this is the first book series where I've ever actually written an outline, and I didn't start writing the outline until I started drafting the second book, because I could tell, I was like, okay, so many of these plot lines and characters are going to be interwoven. I actually need to have this out on paper. And in doing that, the structured aspect of it actually allowed my creativity to bloom even more, because I was always very against an outline, because I'm like, I'm a fly by the seat of my pants type author. I like letting the characters surprise me. I like letting the story surprise me. I didn't want to be held down to an outline. And it wasn't until I actually did that and I actually forced myself into the box of structure that I really started to grow as an author. And I was like, okay. And again, just going back to balance, I'm like, there can be a fine balance between both. You can be super structured and you can also still be super chaotically creative at the same time.
yeah. That's so crazy. It's so cool hearing how every author is just so different, how they either come to their idea or then how they actually write their novel or their series. It's just kind of crazy. And the fact that yours came from a trip and then you couldn't sleep. You were like, I have this one scene in my head and I need to write it down. And then now you have, is it a trilogy? Is it a series?
It's a 7-book series.
7 books?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Hence why I needed an outline. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And like, I know how every book's going to go too. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. I also wanted to say that when I read Your Path is Sorrow, and the first chapter, I was hooked immediately.
Yay!
I was so excited to read more. Like, it was so good.
Yeah, you literally texted me that when you started. You were like, I'm 1 chapter in. I'm hooked. And then you didn't you speed read it?
Yeah, I read it in like a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say it's an incredibly fast read, or at least that's what I've gotten from a lot of my readers. Most people are like, they read it in a day or 2.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Even my editor left so many little notes at the end of the chapter. She was like, another cliffhanger chapter. And I'm like, yeah, it's because it keeps you reading.
Yes, it really does. Like, okay, I'll stop after this. Okay, no, I'll stop after this one.
Those are the best books, though, too, when it's like, I can't put this down because I need to know how it ends. And then, of course, it ends on a cliffhanger. And then you're like, okay, well.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Now I have to wait, but it's okay.
You would be surprised by the amount of people who hate books with cliffhanger endings. I've done a bunch of book conventions this year, and a lot of people, they'll like hold my book and be asking questions about it, and then they'll just look at me and be like, wait, does it end on a cliffhanger? And I'm like, and they're like, never mind, and just walk off. I'm like, sorry.
See, I have a love-hate relationship with them. Like, I love them because it keeps me like so intrigued and interested in the series, but I hate them because I'm like, now I have to wait until like the next book comes out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, as a reader, I'm the exact same way. I get mad at every single cliffhanger, but then as a writer, everything I'm gonna write is gonna have a cliffhanger on it.
I mean, you want to keep people reading and interested in like maybe making theories and stuff, because I know I do that at the end of every book I read.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You.
You have to text all your reader friends and be like, who's caught up?
Yes.
Oh yeah, Emma is a theorizer to the max. Like, it's kind of ridiculous sometimes how she comes up with this like from this like one sentence. She's like, and then this is gonna happen, and this, and it's like, what? I just read the book. Like, I didn't like what?
Yeah, I'm like,
Okay.
I'm just a vibes reader. I'm just
Yeah.
here for the vibes. I'm not trying to figure anything out.
But I will say, when I read this book, I would make a theory and I was like, wait, I don't know, because like the characters, I was like, I can't get a vibe on them. Like, are they good? Are they bad? I don't know what's gonna happen.
Who knows? Who knows?
With 7 books, I feel like there's a lot of opportunity for betrayal or not, or love and then hate and then love again.
Who knows? I'll say I purposely keep a very small beta reader team because originally with Sorrow, I had a ton of people beta read it, and I am an endless people pleaser. And so all the feedback that I got, even feedback that was contradictory to the story or where I wanted it to go, I found myself trying to change it to fit whatever anybody wanted. So I realized I was like, no, I'm not staying true to my voice. I'm not staying true to my characters. So I determined, I was like, I'm going to have a really small beta reader team. And I have maybe 2 or 3 people that read for me. They're people super close to my life who I trust implicitly. And one of them, just one of them, I have never been able to surprise her on anything. Everyone else, there's, they'll see some twist coming, but they won't see the others. I cannot get her. Like, she figures everything out. And there was one big twist in Sacrifice. I was like, she's not going to see it coming. She's not. And the whole time she's reading it, she's sending me updates. I was like, she doesn't see it coming. And then, of course, she's about 2 chapters away from the twist. And she was like, wait a second, is XYZ going to happen? I was like, damn it. So close to pulling one over on you.
Hey, you have 5 more books though.
That's true. There's
gold
plenty
there.
more twists to come. Don't worry.
I'm sure there are. No surprises at all. So you kind of already talked about like your writing process, but what was like the hardest part with the first book? And also on top of that, was Sorrow? I keep wanting to
You're fine.
Your Path to Sorrow, was that the first book you've ever written?
No. I have actually published before. I have published under my real name, which nobody knows, so no one can find it. I do not want anybody to discover it. I don't want anybody to read it, so it'll just exist out there in the ether. But I wrote that book when I was 19 years old, and very much a 19-year-old, and I cherish it. I love it. It has a place in my heart, but nobody needs to read that garbage. So it exists in a different life. But I've been a lifelong writer. Both of my parents are authors, so I have been raised around the written word my entire life, and I always knew I wanted to be an author. And I have on my laptop right now, I actually have a tiny little file that has maybe, I'd say, like 6 different manuscripts on it in varying states of finished or unfinished. And who knows, I might publish them all at some point, I might not. But yeah, so Star was not the first book I've written. It is the first book I will say I have professionally written. So it's the first book where I really took a critical eye to it, where I actually hired a professional editor. And I tried really hard to make this a story that I wasn't just sharing amongst friends.
Yeah. And so I then going to the next question then, like, what was the hardest part about it this time? Because like you said, was your first time doing it like professionally. What was the hardest part in that?
Oh man, what was besides literally having to go back and change the entire manuscript? I would say the hardest part would be getting out of my own way.
Mm.
I am really critical with myself, really, really, really critical with myself. And it is to my own detriment most of the time. And so I would have an issue where I'd write a scene and rewrite it and rewrite it and rewrite it and retool it and then just be like, you know what, I need to scrap it entirely. Like one of the scenes in the book that is the scene readers quote to me the most and is the scene that people point out the most was a scene that I almost scrapped entirely. And to say it without giving away spoilers, it is the tent scene.
I love that scene.
I almost didn't include that scene in the book. I don't know why. I was so nervous about writing that scene. This is also the first book that I have written explicit adult content in. As I was growing up as an author, I started, slowly veering towards that way, but I was also raised very religious. Um, and it took a while for me to kind of step away from those like stigmas and those ideas in my mind and be like, there is nothing wrong with me writing these books the way I want to write them. These are two consenting adults. There's no, like, also it's a fiction world. It's fantasy. This is okay. And so I just had to really get out of my mindset, let go of some past trauma and just let the characters be the way they want it to be. And I'm glad I did, because again, see, you liked that scene. So many other people liked that scene, and it almost was on the cutting room floor.
That is crazy that you almost cut that out. What?
Yep. My husband was the reason I didn't. He was like, no, you have to leave that scene. And I was like, I don't know. It seems like, and he was like, just trust me, leave this scene in, your audience will like it.
He's a genius. Genius. Not as much of a genius as the person who actually wrote it, though.
Well.
It also just sounds like, just based on how you're just talking, and maybe this is me getting too psychological, but it sounds like maybe just this first book or maybe this series was kind of healing to you and finding who you were and who you are as an author.
Yeah, it absolutely was. Because, I say all of this, preface it by saying I love my parents deeply. I have incredible parents. They are a great support system. I love them. But with all parents, they all fuck us up a little bit. And so just like learning to kind of step into my own and be like, I'm a woman in my mid-30s. I might be their youngest daughter, but I am also an adult. And I'm allowed to do these things. It was incredibly cathartic and it was incredibly healing. And I know we're talking about sorrow right now, but the standalone book I've got coming out in October is even more so that way, because it let me dive into really being able to work out and think about and experience the trauma I had with having lifelong depression and a very intense anxiety disorder. It let me kind of just explore those themes from the idea of a fantasy world. And so it was also really healing, really cathartic. And I mean, that's art for you. Art is just the way that you get to experience emotions and triggers and trauma in our life from a safe place where we can also be vulnerable in it and still, again, be safe at the same time.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of things on like Book Talk and stuff where a lot of writers say that it's like free therapy writing a book.
Yeah, it absolutely. I can't tell you how much I cry while I write.
I love that, but also this but I love that.
Well, I mean, because I like a lot of people have always asked, like, do you write yourself? Like, oh, are you Corla? And I'm like, no, absolutely not. Like, I'm God. That's what I am as a writer. I'm God. I create everything and I do everything, but I'm not in the books. But I am still experiencing everyone's emotions as it's happening. So, like, the things that happens to Corla, especially the things that happen to Corla in book 2, in my mind, I'm experiencing all of that and I'm feeling those emotions. Probably, I don't want to say deeper than anybody who reads it, but I would hazard a guess to say I probably do.
Probably. You know them a lot more than we do. Wow, that's just super cool. And I just love hearing authors talk about just kind of their books, especially the first one. It sounds like a lot of authors are like, yeah, like I kind of started, and then they get to the second book and they're like, that's where I really found the characters. And then book 3, if it's either a trilogy or there's more, they're like, okay, like this series has changed me as a human being.
Yeah,
And
it
sounds
is.
like that's true for you as well.
Yeah. And, it's like with every work, I'm finding my voice a little bit more. With every work, I'm growing more as an author, which is, again, what you want to do. You want every work you produce to be better than the last. And I really feel like for the first time in my life, for the fact that I have been writing since I have known how to write, I feel like for the first time, I'm actually good at what I do.
Mm. Yeah. And that's a great thing that you feel confident in, especially if it's something that you're putting out and you basically turned your life around to go now do like writing. That's what you're doing full time now. So
Yeah.
super awesome. My last question that's not really the book related, because Emma's gonna ask you a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Because she has a lot of questions about the book.
Oh, yeah.
No spoilers though. But my only question about the book that I really want to ask is, who is your favorite character? Not who was your favorite character to write, but who is your favorite character in the series?
Have either of you read Sacrifice yet?
No.
Okay, I didn't know if either of you had gotten an arc of it yet or not.
Nope.
So my favorite character to write is introduced in the second book. Obviously, Corla is my favorite character. She's my girl. I love her. I am, again, forever surprised by her. I'm about 70,000 words into book 3 right now. And much like with book 1, I, got into it and I'm like, nope, this isn't right. And I had to go back from the beginning. And I've just been steadily rewriting each chapter because I'm just like, she's not enough of a badass. Like I just, as I was writing, I was like, I don't understand why this doesn't feel right. I don't understand why this isn't flowing. And then it wasn't until I was like, oh no, it's because I need to make her way more badass. That's why. And so I love getting to see her. She's strong in ways that I am not. She is confident in ways that I am not. She fights for people the way that I want to fight for people. So I see a lot of what I would like to be as a person in her. But my favorite character to write is introduced in book 2. And I mean, it doesn't spoil anything, but the character's name is Heron, and he has now wildly become my favorite character.
I'm really excited about that now.
Yeah,
I'm really anticipating.
He was originally written in one scene. He was a side character, and that is all I planned out for him. And as I was writing that scene, his character just tapped me on the shoulder and went, I'm a main character now. And I was like, okay, you're a main character. Cool.
I took one creative writing class in college, and that professor said that the characters tell you what they're gonna do. Like they can surprise you, even though you're the writer. And I'm like, that's true.
That it 100% is. I've never written a story that has gone the way I intended it to go.
Which that's kind of hilarious, but also like I love that because I feel like you have it. Okay, to be frank with you, Emma and I are both trying to write books as well.
Yay!
And so I feel like we both started our series and we were both kind of like, yeah, this is how it's gonna go. I'm on book 3. It's completely different from what I originally thought about. And so it's just kind of crazy how you can just start getting into it and you think you know what it's gonna be. You think you know how it's going to end, and then something happens when you're writing it and you're like, wait, did I is that me? No, it was like the world actually came to life as you're writing.
Yeah. Well, even I just recently finished the Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy, and that was only supposed to be like a 6-book series, and she got into writing book 6 and was like, no, there's still another book. So even like big name authors, this happens to them too.
See, Emma, you need to read it. I just finished it.
I'm sure my sister is in gold right now, and I keep being like, are you on Goldfinch yet? Are you on gold? And she's like, no, she keeps like getting stuck in Queen Melina chapters. And I'm like, just force your way through and read it already.
Oh my gosh. It's my new Roman Empire. So I need Emma to read it. So I have somebody to talk to about it.
I can't recommend it enough. It's so good. It also, I will say, the last 3 books I had to take weeks and weeks between because I was in the middle of trying to finish writing Sacrifice while I was reading those books. And I was so stressed writing Sacrifice. And then I'd read these books and I would get so stressed reading the book that I was like, okay, at this point, I'm not having fun with anything that I'm doing.
I feel like you can't do both at the same time. It's way too hard.
No, I have learned now if I'm in the middle of like a big writing sprint, I can only read like not, I don't want to call them like fluff romances because I feel like that sounds bad, but like easy little like one-off romances, like just, little 300-page book somethings. Maybe they're in a series, maybe they're not, but it's all low stakes. I'm like, I can't care about a character if that makes sense.
Yes.
And like if I'm writing a fantasy or romantasy or something, I don't want to read a fantasy because I'm like, okay, so my book sucks compared to this, and then I'm like I'm like in that world, and I'm like, how do I get back to my world? So I have to read like, I don't know, mystery or romance or something, and then vice versa.
I will say, if I can just give you one piece of advice that I am also saying this to myself, do not compare your unedited manuscript to somebody's New York Times bestseller. Like, just understand that what you're writing has been looked at and worked on by you, and those books have been looked at and worked on by an entire team of people. So it is not the comparison of talent at all. It is just the difference in the amount of people helping you.
That's good.
Really good. Yeah, that's really good to know. Especially because I think, we definitely beat ourselves up about it.
Of course. We all do. Every artist is their worst critic.
Yep. That's so true. And it's in everything. Well, yeah. Emma, read the Plated Prisoner series. Anyways,
yes.
If you haven't learned, Parker, I come in with it with nothing. And Emma comes in with everything.
With a binder full of questions.
Yes. Every episode we do, she has notes upon notes. And I'm just like, wait, what are we talking about today? Like,
you're just here for the vibes.
Yep, that's exactly how it is. So she has all the questions, and then I'm like, yeah, let me like add on to that.
You're the person who goes to book club to drink wine, and she's the person who goes to book club actually having read the book.
No, for real.
Yeah, that's actually accurate.
And I'm the person who brings the wine to book club.
I think we need to do a book club with you.
Right, honestly.
Okay, so my first question, and I wrote this before knowing it was like a 7-book series.
Yeah.
So, but did you know who the love interest was going to be when you first started it? And obviously that could change like throughout, but like after reading book 1, I have in mind who I think the love interest would be. But did you know like for sure, or has that like changed? Or
originally, again, wrote it contemporary setting. And originally Ramsey's character was like an actual villain, actual bad guy, actually like evil. And so he was supposed to be the big bad of the book series. So no, I did not realize that I wanted his character to be good. And I didn't realize trying to say this without giving away spoilers. I did not realize how the love story would go when I was writing it. And it wasn't until the end of writing Sorrow, when I started writing Sacrifice, I think I was about 30% of the way through it when I was like, oh shit, wait a second. This is a really big plot point that's going to go throughout the entire series.
I don't think this spoils it, but there's like mentions of like foxes, and obviously there's a fox on the cover. I'm hoping and that there's going to be more explanation to that because I'm very intrigued by that.
There is, but not anytime soon.
Okay.
Again, I'm like, I said I was good at not spoiling, and now I'm finding myself being bad at it. My plot lines are never very linear plot lines. And so you slowly learn things, much like with Sorrow, you slowly learned the story as she was experienced, as Corla was learning the story. That's kind of how it will continue. So things will get explained, but only when they are explained to Corla.
Okay, that makes sense.
But foxes play a major theme throughout the entire series and will be featured in every book.
Okay, good.
I feel like I'm gonna need to like scream after the end of every book now. Just how you're describing this.
Maybe not scream after the second one. The most common reaction I get is people sending me pictures of them sobbing.
Yep, that'll be me because I cry at almost every book. So go team.
I cry every day.
That ending, though, I mean, obviously I won't say it, but that ending was crazy. I was like, oh.
Do you want to know how I came up with that ending? This won't spoil anything. I before I quit my job to become an author, I was a career bartender. Loved it, loved doing it, loved everything about the craft of it. Have some great stories from it. But I was working at this super nice steakhouse in Nashville, and we got a ton of highly allocated liquors, and I was stocking them like in our back room where they were all caged up. And there was this one super allocated añejo tequila that was just titled Leyenda. That was the name of it. And I didn't realize, but apparently it means legend. And so I was like, oh, well, that works perfectly. But yeah, I saw that bottle of tequila and the last line of the novel popped into my mind. And I was like, okay, yep, that's how I'm ending it.
Oh my gosh.
You went and like scribbled down on like a server's pad. I like wrote the ending real quick.
So how long did it take you to write this book?
Like start to finish, I would say Sorrow took me about maybe close to like a year and a half. Like from concept to actual manuscript to getting it to my editor to getting it back to releasing it. I want to say it was like just under a year and a half. Sacrifice, however, took me like 4 months.
That's
Well, it's probably easier because well, not easy, but like easier because like the characters.
Yeah. I know the characters, I know the process a little bit better. And working under a deadline is a great motivator. So there's also that.
Yes. I also wanted to ask, are there any characters that you see as like the villain, like someone so evil, or is there like different sides to each character? Because I mean, I've talked about this a lot in other episodes, but I'm someone who loves a complex character. Like if they're the villain, I'm like, but are they, or are they just misunderstood?
I mean, that's why we all love a morally gray character. No, there is a villain. But there are also all of my characters are flawed characters. I mean, Corla's a very flawed character. Ramsey's a very flawed character. My new favorite character that you meet in book 2, very flawed character. So I don't necessarily deal in terms of like straight white or black. Almost everything is in shades of gray. However, that being said, the villain is straight black, like 100% absolutely a villain. With like shades of gray henchmen.
I feel like to me, then it would be okay. So Emma sees everybody, like she said, with like they're misunderstood, whatever. Every villain in a book, I'm like, but like we kind of love it. Like we love it.
Oh yeah,
we love the villain, but also it's the villain.
You're like, well, but wait, if villain, why hot?
No,
why am I into you?
Literally, like. Why are you so dark and shadowy? Like, we kind of love that.
I will say the villain in my story, like outside of Corla and now my new favorite character, he is one of my top favorite characters to write just because he pushes me as an author. Because, good guys, like, it's not easy to write good guys, but it is. With a villain, I feel like to write a good villain, it steps you out of your comfort zone because you're probably not a villain. You're probably not an evil person. And it makes you go, okay, what is their motivation? It can't just be, I'm evil, so I must destroy. Like, it can't be very robotic like that. It's like there has to be a driving force behind this character to do the things they're wanting to do. And just being like, world domination is boring. So I really enjoy my villain just because they did make me essentially do the work and figure out their story.
Great.
Yeah.
Which you learn in book 2. So
Yeah, and I'm someone who I don't when a villain is just like, oh, like they're the villain, like that's it. I'm just like, okay, well, that I guess it's fine, but like, what's the motivation? And I feel like
Yeah.
that's what the very intriguing part is
And
trying to get to know. And I don't know, maybe understand the villain a little bit, but like maybe not. I don't know.
You say this, but every book that you read, every villain, including Throne of Glass, you're like, but like, what was the trauma?
Throne of Glass is different.
I will say I'm only 3 books into Throne of Glass, so no spoilers.
We will not spoil. But it's so good.
I know. Okay, again, it came into that same thing where I'm like, this is stressing me out. And because first 3 books, so the third one ends pretty stressful. I was like, I just can't. I know it's supposed to get worse from here on out.
Oh yeah, that one you have to read when you like, especially from book 4 and on, because good luck to you. That's all I'm gonna say. Make sure that you're not writing when you're reading it.
It's gonna be no time soon. Like, I'm on my cozy romances right now.
Yeah, that one takes a piece of your soul.
That's what I've heard. My sister's reading it right now, and I'm just like,
Yeah, it like emotionally destroys you, but in a good way. Like you love it for it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, we asked for it, so that's what we want in a book.
Seriously.
Honestly, my motto is, or our motto is, if a book doesn't make you cry, it's not a good book. Like you want the emotions.
Yeah,
as
you
long
want
as
to feel those things.
As it's somewhere in the series, if you cry, then it's like, okay, this was at least 4 stars, at least.
Yeah,
because
like, you made me feel.
Yes, you made me feel something. Throne of Glass, I cried almost every book.
I just, we'll get there one day because I've read all of her other stuff. So I'm like, I'm a completionist. I can't just leave a series halfway. So I'm like, I will finish it, but just I keep calling them cozy romances. I only read dark romance outside of fantasy, so they're not exactly cozy. They're just cozy to me.
Hey, if it's for you, then you know what? That's okay.
Do you listen to music while you're writing? And if so, is there like a specific author or playlist that you listen to a lot or read or writing this series?
I absolutely listen to music while I'm writing, and I have a Spotify playlist on my phone that is literally just called writing inspiration. And any song I hear that even like vaguely inspires me to write goes on the list. I will say 90% of it is Taylor Swift, so I might as well just have a Taylor Swift playlist, but it's either Taylor Swift or then like weird emo punk.
I'm a huge Swiftie, so I relate strongly to that.
Yeah, like honestly, most of the time when I post in my stories, because I'll post if like there's a specific lyric that inspired a scene, 9 times out of 10 it's a Taylor Swift song.
You just became best friends with Emma by saying that. I hope you know.
Yeah. All of these best people love romantasy and Taylor Swift.
For real.
I'm just not convinced that she's not a romantasy girly with like all of her lyrics. I'm like, you have to be. You have to be.
Especially the Tortured Poets department. I feel like a lot of those, like the prophecy one, I was like, I can relate to like 5 books to this one.
Probably the majority of Sorrow was written to that album.
Oh my God.
It's so good. It gets me in the vibe to write. It's like depressing, but like not depressing where every scene's gonna be sad.
Well, and it's like the songs are long enough that they can keep you engaged for an entire scene, but they're not too long. They're also very lyrical. There's a lot of changes in the tempo, so you can find the perfect song for the perfect scene structure. It's just, I mean, not that I need to like uplift Taylor Swift any more than the world already has, but
no, I do it all the time.
I'm not a Swiftie, so I can't.
It's okay. We'll forgive you.
Okay, thank you.
Our friendship, the first time I heard that, I was like, are you sure?
I actually didn't start listening to Taylor Swift until I started writing Sorrow. And at the exact same time, my brother works for the DoD, and he had gone to live in, I want to say it was the Philippines for 3 months. And he left. Tortured Poets came out. he came back and he was like, I leave the country for 3 months and every female I know is suddenly a Swiftie. Because I was like one of the last, myself and his partner were the last two girls he knew who did not like Taylor Swift. And then he came back and we were both diehard fans.
Oh my god,
It was like, what happened?
that's awesome.
Album,
Love
I'm
that.
still obsessed with that album, and it's been a hot minute since it came out.
Oh yeah, it will forever be on a constant loop on my writing list.
Especially since there's so many songs. It's like 36 or something on one album.
Yeah, it's insane. Because I'm also a big vinyl girly. And so whenever I'm listening to the vinyl, I'm like, God, I have to keep switching records. There's so many songs.
Yes. Do you set aside time to write? Or like you're like, I'm gonna write like 7 hours or like these few scenes today, or do you write when you feel inspired? And I guess this is more of a question for like when you're with your first book, because I'm assuming, did you have a deadline for that or? Okay.
Yeah, I've worked with the same editor on all my books, and I had deadlines with her on all of them. So I mean, I technically didn't have a deadline to publish. I just had a deadline as to when I needed to get a completed manuscript to her. But my kind of routine, I don't have like a set amount of hours, but my routine is basically once my husband leaves for work, I will write until he comes home. I normally like break sometime in the afternoon just to like let my brain chill out. I'll play with my dog because I have an incredibly hyperactive dog. And then sometimes he'll get home and I'll have to be like, hey babe, I'm still writing, like go play video games or something. If I'm super in a scene, or like in June, I got very dangerously close to a deadline and there was, oh, what was it? It was like a 9-day period where I was having to, at minimum, write 10,000 words a day. I don't recommend doing that ever, 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 ever. It almost broke me, but I did it, and it's probably my best work to date. But yeah, so there are times like that when I'll be like, there's a specific word count that I have to reach, and I just write until I reach that word count. But normally it's just I treat it like a 9 to 5, essentially.
Okay.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's nice. I make no money, but it's nice.
Well, a lot of times when I'm trying to write, like when I sit down, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna write. No thoughts in my brain, absolutely none. And then I'm like trying to go to sleep, and I'm like, well, this idea could work. Or I'm like driving, I'm like, wait, I just thought of like 2 different scenes, but I can't do anything about it now.
And there have definitely been times like, again, I was raised by 2 authors, so they kind of instilled in me like writer's block is only a thing if you let it be a thing. Like you can get writer's block, but you can write yourself out of writer's block. And that's honestly the only way to do it. But there have definitely been times when I've been going at it super hard and say I'm like pumping out 10,000 words a day for like a couple days on end. I'll just get to a point where I feel like my creativity well is completely empty. And those are the times when I'm like, yeah, I could write today, but I know the work I'm going to produce is bad. So instead, I call them brain breaks. And I'm like, I'm just going to give myself a brain break. Gonna watch like trash TV all day and just chill with the dog and do nothing. And then normally in those periods, it's exactly like you said, you'll just find yourself retooling scenes in your mind. And then when you go back to it, it's like, okay, cool. Now I'm excited about it again. Now I'm inspired by it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. That's super cool. And I feel like Emma, you and I do the same thing. Like I feel like literally like every night I'm like, oh my gosh, that scene. I need to write that scene and it's in my brain, but it's like midnight and I need to go to bed. It's terrible.
Yep. For me, I have a really bad habit. Like I can fall asleep super easy, but the second I wake up, I'm just awake for the night. Doesn't matter if that's at 6 a.m. Doesn't matter if it's at 2 a.m. And so I'll have a really bad habit of waking up and being like, well, it's 1 a.m., but I should just go right. And my husband will be like, get back down.
Oh gosh. See, once I'm down, I can't get back up. Nope, won't do that. Even though I probably should, because then I forget.
Well, no, sleep's important.
Well, then, no,
Well, I'm pretty lazy person. Like, I'm gonna admit that. Like, I'll wake up early and I'm just like, I'm not getting out of bed. Like, I could be productive, but no way.
That's where you send voice messages to me normally, is when you're sitting in bed.
In bed.
Yeah.
That used to be me until I got, again, a hyperactive puppy, and I feel like I have a toddler. So that's suddenly now I'm up and at him at 5 a.m. because he is.
Oh my gosh. Well, good for you.
Yeah. I think he's cute, so.
There is that. You know, we love the dogs. They keep us going, right?
Yeah.
Well, I want to kind of move into book 2, and I know we kind of talked about it, and we're not going to spoil anything because it's coming out when?
August 1st.
Okay.
So soon.
So close. Okay. So everybody, August 1st, you know, we're going to be doing, anyways, moving to book 2. What about it, I guess? I mean, no spoils.
Yeah.
But what is your favorite part other than the character that you were telling us about earlier? What's your favorite part about this book?
Okay, so this is only if you know, you know. So come back and re-listen to this after you've read the book. But it's the beginning of part 2, which is titled I Know You. And that entire first segment was my absolute favorite part to write. It was just a joy. It was a delight. I found myself smiling the whole time. I found myself falling in love with the characters while I was doing it. So that whole segment, like, I just absolutely fell in love with it, which my husband, he reads everything that I write, and I've even convinced him to read Fourth Wing. I've convinced him to read Akotar. I have gotten him to promise to read Crescent City, but he was like, I'm done with fantasy for a second. Let me read other things. But when he was reading my book and, you know, I was asking him, like, what did you think? What did you think of this, of that, of the action, of blah, blah? And then when I got to that part, I was like, well, what did you think of this part? And he was like, well, I mean, that's for the romance girls. And I was like, oh.
So for us. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I was like, so you guys, he was like, no, I mean, it was good. It was well written. He was like, that's not for me. I'm not your target audience there.
Okay. So romance.
Yes. It's a very, you learn a lot about the characters in a very sweet way.
Aww. Okay.
Those are my favorite. They are, actually.
Yes. Those are probably our favorite parts. So that was the most fun part and what you loved the most. What was the hardest part about writing book 2?
Oh, the ending. No, because I knew exactly how it was going to end. And it wasn't like it was difficult to put the characters through what I put them through. And it was difficult to deal with very triggering subject matter and try and treat that subject matter with the respect that it deserves, and also allow it to be visceral without being grotesque at the same point in time. It will make sense when you read it, but it was just a fine line of trying to honor the story and give it to you in the very raw way that you need it to be delivered, but also not feel like it's just, done for shock value, essentially. So that was very hard, just figuring out that fine line to walk.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm so intrigued. Okay. August 1st, fast enough.
I will say book 2 is several shades darker. It also, I should have included trigger warnings for the first book, but I didn't feel like there was that many triggering things in it. Book 2 definitely has trigger warnings in it, so everybody take care and pay attention to the trigger warnings and understand where you are in your own mental health journey.
Well, that's good to know. This is why we have trigger warnings, friends.
Yep.
This is why they're a thing. But also, we love reading about those things because then we can relate to characters. So.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's a way for, again, going back to it being healing and cathartic, it's a way for me to work through some of my own trauma just on page instead of in my own mind.
Yeah, totally. I guess kind of going off that vein a little bit. I mean, maybe you've already mentioned this, but what should we really be looking forward to in book 2, maybe book 3 as well?
Oh, okay. In book 2, look forward to getting a deeper understanding of the characters and the world that they live in. A deeper understanding of the history of Amory and that realm and the gods. And in book 3, just be looking forward to some good old fashioned feminine rage. Just
Oh, we love it.
book
Love.
3 is going to be very exciting.
Do you have? I assume you have a title for book 3.
I do, but it's not revealed yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
Dad. Okay. Do you know the names for all of the books in the series yet, or no?
I know obviously the names for the first 3. I know the title for the last one, and then it's just 4, 5, and 6 that, normally my titles are always working titles that end up changing.
Yeah.
Like Your Path is Sorrow was not originally titled Your Path is Sorrow. It was originally titled Fragile, but that changed when the rest of the book changed. So yeah, I like to leave room for it to be flexible and for, again, the story to surprise me and kind of tell me what they want the title to be.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Yes.
I have one more question. Do you write your outlines for each book like before you even started the first book, or do you finish like one book and then start an outline for the second book and then write the second book and so on and so forth?
I wrote the first book without an outline. Because again, I did not intend to publish the first book. I intended it to just be a story for myself and my friends. And it wasn't until my sister started sharing it with her friends, who started sharing it with their friends, who started sharing it with their friends. And everybody was like, where can I buy this? I was like, oh, well, hang on. But so then because I could tell the story was going to be so interwoven and there were going to be so many connecting plot points, I was like, okay, I actually need to sit down and start writing an outline. And I wrote the outline for book 2. I've got the outline for book 3. And then I have a very large document that's just bullet points, and it's just plot points that I need to hit at some point in the series.
Okay.
And so I have a vague idea of how the rest of the series is going to go. Like, I know the big things, I know how it's going to end, I know all that, but the actual story itself, I am going to let it surprise me.
I think that's the best way to go about it.
Mhm. It's worked out so far.
Last few things that I want to just ask you, and maybe I'm putting you on the spot, but do you have any advice for people out there who want to be a writer, want to be an author, and just haven't really jumped on it yet, or they're starting to write.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for those people? Because everybody has their own journey, but it sounds like you have a lot of experience, even though you might say you don't, but it sounds like you do. So I would just love to know, I'm sure some of our listeners are wanting to write, especially if they're readers. So what's your advice for them?
Yeah, so I've said this like a million times. Both of my parents are authors. Something I don't think I've said is they own a publishing house. I do not publish through them. I very specifically did not want to. I wanted to go out on my own. I wanted to see if I was good enough on my own without just having their help, essentially. Because of that, I do have resources through them. So I do have a lot of answers that people tend to have questions to. But the number one that both my dad has told me, who he's been like my main champion throughout my entire writing career, and the thing that I tell anyone when they're like, I want to start writing a book, is just write the story. I know that seems simple, and I know that seems like such a duh for a step one, but a lot of people don't do it. A lot of people will get halfway through a book and then start trying to do this or that, or like getting PR or getting character art, which is all good, and they all have their points in the publishing process, but just write the story. Just tell the story to yourself, get it down on paper. Even if you think it's terrible, just from the beginning to the end, get it out as much as you can. And then you can go on from there. I would say on top of that, one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give to anybody, especially if you are doing indie publishing, is getting yourself with a PR management company. That was one of the first things I did. I used Torchlit Inc. for all of my ARC releases and for all of my PR boxes. She has also been an endless resource, someone who I've just been able to chat with. She gave me advice when I was going and looking to hire a PA, who I eventually found with her help. She has a huge Discord where it's just authors that can talk to each other and share our journey. And I wouldn't have any of that if I hadn't searched out a PR company and got it. And so just having those people in your corner is so incredibly helpful. So yeah, my two biggest pieces of advice: write the damn story and then get yourself a PR company and get good people in your corner, because as much as indie feels like we're doing it by ourselves, you can't physically do it by yourself. You need other people to help you. Even like a podcast like this, being interviewed by people, having somebody reach out to you on Instagram, having a review on Goodreads, those are all people in your team. And so it can feel like a one-man journey at times, but just, try and take a step back and remember that it's not, that it's a group effort as much as it is your own private journey.
Yeah. Well, I think we started this podcast wanting to just talk about books, but I think the coolest part is that we've talked to so many authors, and there's still so many that we haven't talked to. And it's just so exciting to, especially like a few that we've talked to that like it's their first book. It's like, It's so exciting to help them on their journey to just, we're not big, we're not that cool, but it's still exciting.
Hey, yeah, you are.
Like, thank you. It's still like fun and exciting to help them on their journey. And it's true, just a little bit of marketing, I guess, or even just a little bit of word of mouth, it really helps.
Yeah, a lot of people go into publishing with the misconception that agents are easy to get, and B, that just because you have an agent and because they are able to successfully sell your book to a publishing house means you don't have to advertise it yourself. Unless you are literally one of the 1% that gets actual advertising dollars from a publishing house, you still have to do all the legwork. Even if you are published with one of the top 5 publishers, you still have to do all the legwork. And so that's just going into it understanding like this is a labor. It's a labor of love, but it is a hard journey you are going down, and just being very aware of that when you get started in this industry, so that your passion doesn't turn into something you end up hating or resenting.
Yeah, well, we're very grateful that you started writing.
Well, thank you.
I do want to ask, this episode is not about this, but can you tell us a little bit about your standalone?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. I can't reveal too much just because I haven't done the title reveal, the cover reveal, or any of that.
Okay.
But I can tell you just a little bit. It is coming out October 3rd. It is a spooky Halloween book. And it revolves around a girl who, again, this is as little as I can say, revolves around a girl who gets tricked into being trapped in a haunted house to learn that the creatures who exist there are real.
Oh,
and that's as little as I can say. It is much, much more than that, but that's as little as I can say without giving away too much. Like big themes of like tarot and crystal and dark magic. It's contemporary setting, but it's got a very like gothic fantasy vibe to it. And it also dives into, it was the book where I explored like my own personal struggles with like suicidal ideation and depression. And so it explores that in like very fantastical lyrical terms.
Interesting. When will we know the title?
That will be after Sacrifice releases, so probably like the following week or so, I'll do the title and the cover reveal.
Okay. I'm very excited. Very excited.
Which I use the same cover artist that I use for both of my previous 2 novels, and she knocked it out of the fucking park. It's so good, and I can't wait to share it.
We're excited. What? Oh my gosh. Okay. Something to look forward to in life.
Yes,
okay.
Yes. So just keep an eye on all my socials. You'll see it because it's going to be impossible for me to shut up about it.
We're excited. Okay. Emma, we can get to your would you rather now.
Would you rather have a 1-bed trope or the ability to dream walk?
Oh, ability to dream walk. all of my stories have come from dreams, so dreams are very like important to me.
I think I honestly would have the dream walk thing because that's so interesting. Like it's so
Yeah.
cool. I love
Yeah.
it.
I also am married and share a bed with my husband. So I'm like, I get a one bed every night anyways.
That
True.
is true. I would have to say the same. Dream walk for sure. And that is something that I like writing about too. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Emma, sorry, I just spoiled something for my third book. You're welcome.
That's fine.
We love a dream walking trope.
We
Yeah.
really do. We
'Cause
really do.
it's like you don't want or at least for me, I don't want the characters to be together 24/7 because that's boring, right? But
Yeah.
then like, when they're separated, I'm like, okay, but how can they still be together? Like, how can I still
Yep.
respect them?
Yeah. Going through a bit of that right now, writing book 3. So
Ooh, man. Well, we have a lot to look forward to.
I know. I was like, tiny tease, tiny tease.
This is so exciting. Parker, this has been amazing.
It's been a
And-
delight.
Yeah, this has been so much fun. We are so grateful that you wanted to come and join us and enjoy our unhingedness. Sorry, hopefully we didn't spook you off. I didn't think we were that bad this episode.
No, not at all. Honestly, like as cheesy as it sounds, it's very much the honor is all mine. Like it can feel when you're an indie author, it can feel a lot like screaming into the void. And so it's just nice to have these like actual moments of like human connection with other readers, with other aspiring authors, and just understanding that we're all in this together.
Yeah, for sure. That just reminded me one thing that we always ask every author, and I just forgot, but I want to ask you. What is your favorite series or book that you've read?
Okay, so this is going to sound completely random considering everything we've talked about so far has been like fantasy romance or romance of some sort, but the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. Stephen King is hands down my absolute favorite author. I have a Stephen King tattoo. I have read almost all of his works. He is one of the I read him at far too young of an age. My parents should not have let me read him as early as I did, but he was one of the first authors outside of like Tolkien and Ray Bradbury. Those are like he was the one that made me be like, I want to write like this. I want to be this level of an author. Just the way that he is able to craft sentences and the way he is able to make you so viscerally feel what his characters are feeling has always been incredibly inspiring to me. And the entire saga of the Dark Tower series was just so moving, so well written, so intricately woven. Like it made me want to be better. It forces me to be a better author to have somebody like that to look up to.
Well, looks like we need to add that to our TBR, Emma.
It's a wild ride, and again, it is not a romance, and it is not like anything we've discussed, but it's one of the best things I've ever read in my life.
It's so interesting that every author we've talked to, what they say is their favorite read is literally like the complete opposite of what they've written.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. I love it. It just proves how each person is so different and like how their brain works and what they need, and you know what I mean? Like it's just it's really cool. Well, this has been so amazing, and we are so grateful that you came on with us. You will be on again because I'm pretty sure after book 2 we're going to be like, we need to talk to you and ask questions.
Please do, and feel free to slide into those DMs with any questions you have. My favorite thing in the world is just getting readers' reactions like throughout the entire journey of the book, and so I my DMs are always open to stuff like that.
Well, we will definitely be doing that, most likely. So, to our listeners, please, if you haven't read, which you probably haven't, unless you want to listen to this if you already have, please look up Parker Garner and start looking at all of her books that are about to come out. And then Your Path is Sorrow. Oh my gosh. I was
like, Love is Blind? What?
Your Path is Sorrow is already out. Your Path is Sacrifice is coming out August 1st. Where can they get that?
All of it is available on Amazon for paperback, ebook, or Kindle Unlimited. And I will say, after the release of my standalone in October, my goal is to focus on getting signed editions available to be bought on my website, which will include character art, custom stickers, and in my first PR box for Sorrow, I included a custom candle that everybody went feral over, and I am bringing that candle back with a couple additional scents, including a Ramsey scent and a Corla scent.
Well,
Oh.
there you go, guys.
So honestly, the best thing is just stay tuned on my Instagram because all of that stuff will be blasted there.
Perfect. Well, there you go. We will be putting all of Parker's information out when we post about this episode, so you don't have to go searching for it. We got it for you. We will be promoting her. You will see it. And we probably won't be shutting up about this series for a while. It sounds like it's going to be a good couple years of our lives if there's 7 books. So
yeah, it's going to be a good couple years of mine.
We are along the journey with you.
Yeah.
That is what we're here for. Well, thank you so much for listening, everybody. Our next episode, we are actually taking a break from books, and we're going to be talking about Bridgerton, the show on Netflix. So stay tuned for that. We will do an episode for every season. So for the month of August, we are taking a break from books, and we are talking about Bridgerton. So stay tuned for that. You don't have to read any books to listen to our episodes of the month of August. So with that, I think I've remembered everything, Emma. I feel like I always forget something, but it's okay if I did, because you know where to find us on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. Thank you.